Just like smartphones, year after year, the budget tablet market becomes ever more competitive. In the past, these budget tablets were best for, watching videos, and they could barely run games of any kind. But that isn't the case anymore with budget tablets today. One good example of a new budget tablet this 2024 is this, the OPPO Pad Neo. If you're familiar with OPPO's lineup of tablets, you can think of this as like their entry-level model. It only packs a Helio G99 processor, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage. But if you just need a tablet to watch movies or videos and play light games, it's more than enough. With an SRP of just 15,999 pesos, it's also very affordable. Given how competitive the market is today, is this a budget tablet you should consider buying? Well, I'm Jose from Yugatech, and let's find out in this review. So, roll that OBB, let's get started. So let's start with the design and construction of the tablet. While the OPPO Pad Neo might be a budget tablet, it is by no means lacking in terms of build quality. It features a similar design language to that of its more powerful and larger siblings, but in a smaller and more compact package. You get an all-metallic frame with a minimalist-looking design. The back panel mainly features a matte finish, but the top part is reflective, which is not as smudge-resistant as you can see here. But aside from the single rear camera, the only other design cue is the OPPO logo at the center. Now, the minimalist design does help this tablet look a lot more premium despite its affordable price point. Not to mention, it also comes with 4 speakers to work with. Our review unit even has a provision for a SIM slot. Other than that, you do get a USB-C at the bottom. In terms of size, the Pad Neo is one of the smaller members of OPPO's tablet lineup. It only measures 255.12 by 188.4 and 6.89 millimeters. Now, that's a bit small. It's relatively light for a tablet too, weighing just 538 grams. This makes the tablet easy to carry around and bring wherever you want. It can easily fit in your bag, and for better reference, it even fits inside my crossbody bag. With that, I can safely say the OPPO Pad Neo doesn't feel like a budget tablet of the past. It's light, easy to carry, and you can easily take it wherever you go, at the same time having a very quality build finish. Open up the OPPO Pad Neo and you're greeted by 11.4-inch display with 2.4K resolution. Now, it's not the best display out there when it comes to tablets since it only uses an IPS LCD panel. But the colors are rather decent and vibrant for an IPS displays, at least from my eyes. The only downside is when you're using it outdoors and under the sun. It only has 400 nits of peak brightness, which I find very lacking. This made the tablet hard to use under direct sunlight, especially now that it's summer. The Pad Neo also has relatively thick borders all around, but at least they're equally thick from the top to the bottom and the sides. You also get decent viewing angles too. When watching videos, the animations are quite smooth even with only a 90Hz refresh rate. However, some gamers will find it lacking, but then again, this isn't a gaming tablet. I must say, it's great for typing though. In fact, I used this tablet itself to write majority of the written review while I was outside. I didn't even have to use a Bluetooth keyboard since the tablet is great for typing. The speakers are great too, and not to mention they're tuned by Dolby Atmos. While they do lack a bit of bass for my liking, they are quite loud. And at the same time, they do have a good soundstage since you do have 4 speakers to work with. Overall, the display isn't the best, but you do have to set your expectations. This is a budget tablet after all. Still, I do wish OPPO fitted a brighter screen just to make it a bit more usable when you're out and it's bright outside. Now let's move on to the cameras. As with most tablets, I didn't expect too much on the OPPO Pad Neo. Then again, tablets don't have exactly the best camera systems either. On the OPPO Pad Neo, you get a single 8-megapixel rear shooter and a single 8-megapixel selfie cam at the front. They're okay if you want to take photos, but just don't expect too much. If you're using these for video calls such as Zoom meetings, then it should be more than enough. The photos are decent during the day, or at least in well-lit environments, and they're somewhat sharp for an 8-megapixel shooter. Although if you look closely, you will notice the images do have some grain and don't have the best clarity. The colors aren't that accurate as well. At night or in low light, then the images become barely usable. They become really grainy and the camera has a hard time focusing on the subject. The front camera is decent though for selfies during the day, although they are a bit soft for my liking. And as I mentioned earlier, you can hold meetings with it and, just show your boss where you are. In terms of videos, you can record at a maximum of 1080p at 30 FPS using both the front and rear cameras. The rear camera also comes with EIS to help stabilize videos. Like the photos though, they're workable with during the day, but not exactly when you're shooting at night. And Honestly, if you want to take photos or videos, I'd recommend using your phone instead. Aside from getting better shots, you won't get judging looks from people either when you're taking photos or videos with a tablet. So, you know, you don't want to look like this guy. Now, under the hood, the OPPO Pad Neo is powered by a MediaTek Helio G99 chipset. Our unit comes with 8GB of RAM with an additional 8GB via RAM expansion and 128GB of internal storage. If you find 128GB of storage lacking, you can expand memory further via micro SD slot. And if you plan on downloading a lot of files or apps, then you will find space lacking rather quickly. For reference, Genshin Impact alone already took up a lot of space on this tablet. The Helio G99 chipset is decent enough if you mainly use the Pad Neo for work or you just want to be productive. I didn't experience any lag or slowing down, even if I had several apps running in the background, multitasking, and even using the split screen function. At the same time, for the gamers out there, it's decent enough to run games, since you can run the usual light games like Mobile Legends and Asphalt 9. What really surprised me with this tablet is its capability to run Genshin Impact. Yes, this tablet can run Genshin Impact on max graphics and even 60 FPS. Although with the graphics maxed out, it does suffer from heavy frame rate drops and lags. If you adjust the settings to medium to low, you can have a decent gaming experience playing Genshin. However, the tablet does heat up easily when playing Genshin, so do keep that in mind. With that said, I recommend adjusting the graphics to medium to still have a more enjoyable gaming experience, especially when you're playing Genshin. But still, it's surprising considering this is actually a budget tablet, so I wasn't expecting it to run Genshin more so on max settings. We also ran our usual list of benchmarking apps, which you can check out the scores right here. In terms of OS, the OPPO Pad Neo runs on Android 13 skinned with ColorOS 13.2. If you've ever used ColorOS before, then you're bound to enjoy it on this tablet. Best of all, there's no bloatware here either. You also get several multitasking features including split view, flexible windows, and dual windows. I ended up using dual windows the most since you can have two different apps running at the same time. I could have videos playing on one side while working on the other. With flexible windows, I could even have a floating tab for whatever I wanted. These features made it so much easier to be productive with the Pad Neo. That's also why I ended up bringing it around wherever I go, just so I could get work done. In terms of battery, the battery on the OPPO Pad Neo is an 8000 mAh unit, which does last a relatively long time. Despite using it for an entire day to work, write reviews, watch videos, and even play some games, I got home with around 40% of battery life remaining. I even forgot to charge it the next day, and I was still able to be productive even though I was outside of the Yugatech HQ. When you do need to recharge though, the Pad Neo comes with 33-watt Super VOOC fast charging. It's not the fastest charging tablet out there, but given the long battery life, you won't really need to be charging this tablet as often as you think. So that wraps up our review of the OPPO Pad Neo. Overall, it is a great budget tablet for those who want a tablet and just want to work outdoors. But at the same time, you don't want to spend too much money on a tablet and you just need to get stuff done. At the price of 15,999 pesos, it does offer great value for money since it has a decent display and more than adequate speakers. More importantly, the Pad Neo can help you get work done, and at the same time, you can play some games when you have time, like Genshin. If you have an extra SIM card lying around, you can even connect it to LTE, so you don't have to be dependent on Wi-Fi. And at the same time, you can also take advantage of the features of ColorOS 13.2. Now, the downside is the screen isn't exactly the best. With only 400 nits of brightness to work with, you might have a hard time seeing things, especially when it's really bright outside and you're working outdoors. The 90Hz refresh rate might be a factor for some too. And some might say the Helio G99 chipset is a bit lacking in performance. But what do you think of the OPPO Pad Neo? Is it a budget tablet you'll consider buying this 2024? Whatever the case, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, do drop a like and subscribe to our channel to watch more. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, and visit yugatech.com to stay updated with the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been Jose, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya. You can use it as a fan too.